Hello. So, Alabama just got tanked last night by Clemson. Clemson is where I tried to time travel when I was on the Panic Tour, and I was reading Neil Donald Walsh, and I was so upset, and I was at the little payphone outside of the Hardee's by the Clemson venue. And that's when I first started singing again, because I had been crushed. My little songbird self had been crushed by my family and the world and all the rape and all the statutory rapes. And then that third rape I told y'all about, I don't know if it's a deleted account or not, where I just gave up and I just kept getting fucked. And showing up at church and smiling like everything was okay and being mocked and ridiculed and patronized by my father. I continued to go on through life. And then, of course, finally I read Junot Díaz's work and it just all split out and it became a comic book. I'm going to throw this in. Don't call it a comic book. I've been here for years. That's rap. So the black boys and the Alabama boys just got fucked last night. That's a big deal here. That's 16. That's my number. Michael Hauser, 1/6, my birthday, 3/16. I was thinking about Hauser, how he's coming back kind of spiritually into my life due to this situation. Marjorie Lee does Paranormal Romance. Makes sense. We've all connected somehow. He is a very powerful man. Michael Hauser is a very powerful group of people, a very precious community, and an incredible human Jesus-like figure, spiritual guide, a leader, because he was a man of great, great love. And to quote him, where there is love, there is hope. And he gave me hope when these two immigrants were ripping the very life and soul out of me. And I was screaming and looking crazy and crying for help. See, Christine Bailey Ford stood in all sanity against the Congress and still couldn't get what she needed, while this man who has two daughters to play basketball, ironically, that was my game. And that's why I cared about black people so much, because I had that experience. Of course, my mother did too, and she watched those football games for years with her father when she didn't get beat, but her brothers did. And her brothers sexually abused her and used her, and so did her grandfather. So she trusted black men with porter hands when they took her home from her grandfather's house, because they had been trained at that point in time to be very respectful of women. And so my mother trusted these men because they knew better. They were getting their asses kicked to be kind and nice. And my mother trusted black men over white men. And so she had her own, it was the only black partner, cheerleader partner. That was a big deal in USA. So all these girls are being raised up to be great cheerleaders and great wives, submissive wives. So I gave Mr. Junot Díaz a lot of power, and he used it. He used it to support his community. He used it for himself and to totally exploit and humiliate me. But I'm the one who was sending him that power. I was sending him that. I'm the source of that. I'm a very powerful spiritual being. I'm not a whore. I'm not mutilatable. I'm not someone this woman can totally imitate. She was given love for years and kindness, because I was trying to practice love like a lawyer practices law. And that is the spiritual quest I've been upon, to understand this Christ message. And the message of Christ is that he had to die on a cross, take the kind of anger that I just got on a comic book page from a jealous girlfriend, with a lot of confusion about a cad's behavior in the country and all over the place, where he uses women to build himself up. And the Hispanic community really does this, from what I understand. They do this in the Dominican Republic. My wife's Hispanic friend is who kind of gave me the warning, where I did the hot tub picture and was visiting that time where this all kind of started. And Mr. Díaz had the idea to take the material and steal the shit and let me continue to write him and hold me in blackmail position, to take full power and control over my life and my situation, because it was the last thing I was hanging on to, that I'd never sent a nude photo. Okay, but I'm a model, and I get paid to make clothes look good, and I get paid to use my curves and all my ideas of clothing to put that in a visual context by the illustrator Santa Queda. It's interesting. Clemson just won last night. That's a big deal for Alabama. We got beat hard. And I'm here standing in this place to learn from the teacher I was given, Junot Díaz, to stand in the particular and change my situation and face it head on. That's what I did in my first marriage, when I was illegally arrested in self-defense with my ex-husband's child in my stomach. And I went back and I faced that, and I took the responsibility, but it wasn't my fault. But I've been willing to do that. And I just did it again for the boys so they don't have to see it. It was accident that I punched him. But But it was everything coming to a head. And these immigrants have used all these insecurities and been preying on me and watching me. They had full power. They had everything. I gave that to them in trust to help my country so that we could communicate. I gave them a full spectrum of a woman and a human being and a full heart and put 100% in it, which is what I always do. And Mr. Diaz said I was too passionate. That's not his business. I'm made in God's image. As the woman, the fat lady who put me in jail, because fat women are jealous of skinny women. And this happened to my bandmate. She was a true addict and a true drug addict and got in trouble and had to go to DHR and lost her children and things like that. And they were jealous because all these women are overweight. So we're dealing with body image constantly. And I was put in jail by a woman who had a shirt on. She's overweight. She said she's fearfully and wonderfully made. When it has been, and I got in jail by that woman. That's the power they used. And the judge was overweight, and he happened to be my dad's lawyer. So I got to tell that judge that day my dad had beat me, because I couldn't tell that for so many years. That put me in a traumatic position. That doesn't justify more mental health judgment to further patronize me and to keep me down, because I've had to overcome these issues alone, and I got married really young after 2 years before a drug-induced psychosis. I have plenty of medical records to prove. So I'm not going to be used continually and called crazy, because I have a high emotional range due to my acting abilities and my character development and my mind to be a great actor. I gave him my full acting, my full creative space, my full work, and they've utilized it intentionally, intensely, deliberately, without giving me a dime of credit, respect. It's very awkward. Crazy Rich Asians just did well last night. They got their due. And I just got made money off of by a Crazy Rich Asian fraud who is not telling the truth. Of course, I'm in poverty and I'm not vindictive, so it's been very difficult for me to deal with a situation. I don't really want to associate it with people that are that criminal-minded. But anyway, so we're sitting here in Alabama. We just took a big loss. That's a big deal for this state. And I'm standing here. I was supportive of the books, the creativity, the ghetto nerd, everything. I should not be living in absolute extreme poverty at this point. Total exploitation on the earth with my work. And denied credit, and denied respect, and denied financial support due to my part and contribution to Mr. Diaz and Mrs. Liu's recent success in this comic book series. I'm proud of a woman being at Eisner. It's disgusting that it had to take all this just to get a woman recognized for her voice, which brings me back to Moss Flanders and why I was so determined to give a man a full deal of who I am as a woman so that I can talk about what it's like to be a lady, so everybody else can stop talking for us. And Yvette Collin is a real living human being. She's a Native American woman, and I've read some more excerpts of Miss Liu's work about the needle and trying to heal her. That's exactly was the story of Yvette Collin. So Miss Liu has robbed a Native American woman's real story. Another woman, Irish descendant, European descendant, potential daughter of the revolution, elbow problem that I was trying to homeopathically help myself find love because I got so much sexual aggression, so I was trying to take control over that, which is what party girls do, again, is Yvette's story. They throw themselves at these men so they get called CCOs so that this Junot Diaz character can take them and feel justified in his conscience, that they're just